Hello, people of the world watching vehicle reviews on the internet. Welcome to this, the 2024 Mercedes-Benz GLS580. Today, I'm gonna get this big V8 twin-turbo beast in the air. We're nerd out in the tech specs, see how it is constructed, and then go give it the beans in the dirt. It's like a G-Wagon, but round. Weird, the inner tip is smaller than the outer tip. Is that metal? It is. Yeah, this is a truck, all right. That's not a toy. GLS580 is capable of towing 7,716 pounds. There's a butt plug. Is it removable? Yep. It's got a stainless steel muffler. It is active on the outer tips, meaning that there are valves inside here that will open up to change the sound profile and allow more exhaust flow. Of course, I would wear a 5-inch heel when I'm already 5'11" underneath a lift. First up, this GLS580 utilizes a multi-link rear suspension with aluminum lower links and knuckles. Those lower links are protected with, that is off-road worthy plastic right there. That's thick. Just behind the axle shaft right here, you can see there is a massive air bladder, part of the Aromatic air suspension system, which can change the ride height as well as adjust your spring rates since it replaces a coil spring, as well as some Bilstein adaptive dampers. As far as the rear anti-sway bar goes, it measures in at 25.6 millimeter. Whoa, that's pretty neat. There's a big stainless steel tank back here for the air suspension right next to the muffler. The rear diff cover faces downward instead of rear facing like 99% of all rear diffs. It does have a 3.27 final drive ratio and it's made by AAM, which makes sense because these are assembled in the United States, but still kind of surprised to see that. That looks like menudo. Tripas. I can speak Spanish. This third generation GLS, codenamed X167, weighs in at a whopping 5,820 pounds with this mild hybrid twin turbo V8 and 4MATIC all-wheel drive system. You can see on the mid-pipe of the exhaust, Mercedes uses this elongated X pipe as well as a H pipe right here after the cats. As far as the drivetrain is concerned, it is a correctly oriented longitudinal configuration with a 4MATIC full-time four-wheel drive system, relies heavily on robots to do the thinking, but it is capable of transferring 100% of the torque to the rear wheels or 100% of the torque to the front wheels via a multi-plate clutch type center differential that is lockable via the robots when they determine it needs to be. You can see the transfer case hanging off the backside of the transmission right here with a fully aluminum cross member. It is mated to a 9G-tronic 9-speed torque converter based automatic transmission. There are two variants of that transmission through Mercedes, the W9A700 and the W9A1000. This one I do believe is the W9A1000, which means it's rated for a maximum torque input of 1,000 newton meters or 738 pound-feet. Mercedes-Benz plastic transmission pan. Up front, the GLS utilizes an all aluminum double wishbone in construction front suspension made right here in the USA. It looks like even the dust shield is aluminum as well, so it won't rot and rust in northern climates. Again, with that adaptive Aromatic front damper, 100% heavy-duty plastic underbody paneling. No stupid cardboard on this rig. And there is an additional package you can get with even beefier underbody skid plating. The front anti-sway bar, which hangs down quite a bit right here, measures in at 32 millimeter in diameter. It's time for the braking test. No one behind me. Ready? Here goes. Wow. Okay, there was a lot of pedal movement. I felt like my foot was gonna go right through the firewall. Also, short stopping distance for how big of a truck this is. And it was smooth. It was very smooth, very minimal ABS feedback in the pedal. Good brakes. That braking was just made possible thanks to a 2-piston set of front calipers with a 14.8-inch or 376mm cross-drilled front rotor. While I am surprised they didn't use a 6-piston monoblock, it's not the number of pots it has, rather the girth. The wheels, these are the optional 23 by 9.5 plus 45mm offset Ronal forged alloy wheels wrapped in a massive set of 285 40 23-inch Pirelli P0 tires. Not an off-road tire, but it's going off-road anyway. Well thought out, mechanic-friendly jack pads that protrude just enough so it doesn't hit the side skirt. That's what I like to see. Some durable plastic, no hairy cardboard. Plastic or metal? It's hard to tell. I think it's plastic. Wait, that's like wool. That is crazy feeling. Out back, you get a 345mm or 13.6-inch rotor, solid, not cross-drilled, with a single piston floating caliper. The wheels though, it's got a staggered fitment on here with a much wider 23 by 11.5 positive 47mm offset forged Ronal wheel. The tire, 325/35 23-inch Pirelli P0. In the name of science, it is now time to give this thing the beans. Bolstering ooh, it just tightened up on me. Bolstering assessment. Great. It's got excellent bolstering and it's adjustable bolstering. You can make it fit your frame. On top of that, the seats are heated, ventilated, and full massage. Yes, please. Hot, relaxing back. And the way this works is there's little individual air pouches that will fill up. They get really firm too. It gives a pretty good massage and of course heat. One thing I found a little bit annoying is the fact that there's no button on the steering wheel for the steering wheel heat. However, I've realized there's a quick way of doing it. Hey Mercedes.
How can I help?
Turn on steering wheel heat.
Okay, I'm switching on the steering wheel heating.
That's the only way I could figure out how to turn on the steering wheel heat. A simple button right here would have been nice, but I mean, that works too. Wow, that got warm fast. As far as drive modes go, in the center, I got a little flipper that says dynamic. I can flip that up. And go from individual, where you can fully configure it yourself over here on the right, to sport, to comfort, and to off-road. We'll use sport. Well, that's weird. In sport mode, you can't use the roof rails. There's also some flappy paddles in the back of the steering wheel. It's plastic, not metal. And as far as traction control goes, you press the little Mercedes car icon in the center. And that will bring up lower, car wash mode, manual shifting, all kinds of stuff. But we want ESP, and then I'm gonna disable ESP. And let's give this thing a little assistance and let it eat. Ready? Go. Nice. Wow, the shifts are a lot quicker when you do a hard launch. That's already good. This thing rips, dude. This thing's fast for how big it is. V8 sounds good too. Hood pop. Crazy. That's weird. It's got like a shape of a strut tower, but maybe in case you jump it. Whoa, the core support is carbon fiber. Or is it that weird plastic fiber stuff like on the core support of a 350Z? Underneath the hood of the 2024 Mercedes GLS580 is the M176 with EQ boost, which is a 4-liter bi-turbo all aluminum 4-cam V8 with a mild hybrid system that produces 510 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and 538 pound-feet of torque from 2,000 to 4,000 RPM. Please just pop off. There we go. For those of you non-car nerds watching right now, that is what you call a hot V, because V8 in the center, you got 2 turbos. Turbos produce heat, hot V. If you look right here in the front of the block, you can see twin water-to-air charge coolers cooling off the charge air from those dual turbos. Digging a little bit deeper on the M176, now this is a similar engine to what you get in the AMG versions of these vehicles. It has a closed deck block with an 83 by 92 millimeter bore and stroke, 10.5:1 compression ratio. And again, like I said, it has a hot V. So both of these Bog Warner turbos are mounted directly in the center. It also utilizes a Bosch piezoelectric direct injection system. It's direct inject only though. Are you fuel, coolant, or refrigerant? That is wild. Well, that's plastic. That can't be fuel. Some biomechanical engineering going on right there. Some kind of a fluid heat exchanger on the PCM. Not only does BorgWarner manufacture the twin turbos, it also builds the EQ boost system, which adds an additional 21 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque through the mild hybrid system. Generally, when people hear the hybrid term, they think of fuel efficiency and fun sucking, but on this thing, it's more of like, not exactly, but kind of an electric anti-lag for those twin turbos, like a little electric supercharger in a crude sense, not in the exact mechanical sense, but same. That rear left bank O2 sensor makes this plastic engine cover a real treat to reinstall. I at least clean my mess up when I'm done. All right, now let's go get it dirty again. Now, because this thing has 23-inch wheels on it and Pirelli P0 tires, I can't really do a full off-road test, but I am going to do a partial off-road test. And besides, there will never be an automotive journalist that will test a Mercedes truck off-road as well as Whistling Diesel did. Let's just be honest here. That was the ultimate off-road test of a Mercedes product off-road. And that really highlighted what that truck's weak points were and its limits. So with that said, we're going to tackle the hill climb that makes most crossovers and transverse mounted all-wheel drive vehicles fail. I have this flipper for my ride height control so I can raise it for off-road. So I'm going to go down into off-road mode and then go into the menu where it actually says off-road. Geez, there's tons of stuff in here. You can put it to manual mode, quick access, as well as defeat traction control. I'm going to defeat traction control for this. What is score? Oh, it's got my altitude. Score, you can start your next trip as soon as the vehicle is What? Okay. Have fun. Okay. This is crazy. I don't know what this is, but I love when they have fun Easter egg games inside a vehicle's infotainment system. I think this thing can do it. It's got smart robots. I'm gonna do a very slow run up, so there's no advantage with momentum. Come on, robots. Oh yeah. I can't believe I just did that on Pirelli P0s. I literally came to a stop on the hill and it still made it up. I did terrible. I don't understand how it works. -7, accelerate more steadily during axle articulation. Okay. Now I do have hill descent control, but I'm not gonna use it. I'm gonna turn on my cameras though. Tons of different cameras. The resolution on the cameras are really high. It almost looks like a video game. Use that forward-facing one. And I can put my off-road telemetry in the gauge cluster. And I also have my off-road telemetry on the heads-up display. You guys can't see that though, because it's like a ghost. Yeah. You can hear the ABS pulsating, so it's actually using a type of a hill descent control without you asking it to. It's just not controlling the throttle for me. This thing's great off-road. This heated seats work really good. I wonder if I can make it back up the hill I just came down in reverse. This is a test. Let's see. Can I go back up in reverse? Trail cam is coming in super handy. There goes my water. Oh yeah. Not even a problem. Oh, now it's a problem. Robots figure it out. There we go. Yeah, the off-road system on this thing is super intelligent. It does a good job at figuring out what's happening and then applying the torque where it needs to. I like this a lot, actually. So, we're gonna do the gravel pit because, yeah, I just want to see how this four-wheel drive system reacts to the gravel pit. Okay, it's in off-road mode. I'm gonna go real slow and just, I want to see how this system reacts. Literally feels like I'm driving on a parking lot. A paved asphalt parking lot, and I'm on Pirelli P0s, and this thing's heavy. It doesn't upset it at all. I really want to review a G-Wagon. I have to see what those things are like because this is incredible. This isn't even an off-road package. It is freezing out here. Open. Look at Mercedes always has nice carpet. Oh, door. Holy shit, that's deep. There's some like plate bracket remnants. There's also the slider You can stow it away down inside there. This little first aid kit on this side. Oh, and the fuses. Ah, in case you need to do first aid on your vehicle. Yep. More seat controls for the third row. Well, according to the sticker, it has the foot thing, so. Oh, it does. Wow, this is a fancy back seat. What is this? I have my own screen and temperature controls back here. What is this? Oh, fancy. That also has ambient lighting. The back of the seats in front of me have wood grain. I have never seen wood grain on a seat back before, and an ambient light. I got rear heat, but no rear ventilation. And you can actually get that as a package with massage back here as well. I wonder if this has the massage guts built into it already, because look, you can see the little individual air bladders in the seat fabric. It has AMG floor mats back here. You can see the ambient light under the seat in front of me. Is the rear, oh, it's carpeted back there too. What are those? What? I want to go back here. What the fuck? Do I gotta do it from the front? Well, they didn't make this easy for dumb people. How do you get into the third row? Oh, red handle. They did make it easy for dumb people. This still doesn't make it that easy. I must be just really stupid, or this just wasn't well thought out. There's 4 USB-C plugs in the back seat. There's a circle cup holder and a square one for juice boxes, obviously. Oh, that's sick. It's got an ambient light around the speaker in the third row. So how do I pull this back up? What the hell? Whoa! What am I doing? No, don't fold me. I didn't mean to do that. So that side's for the second row, that side's for the third row. Also worth noting, the doors on this truck are so heavy, like it just feels like a safe vehicle. Like other Mercedes products, the gauge cluster, which is integrated in with the infotainment system and one giant screen, is fully configurable, as well as if you scroll up, same with the heads-up display. If you look right here on the navigation screen, there's actually a little gray GLS. Does this come off? This strange wireless charge pad. It has a little, oh, so you can clean it. What is that though? Are you serious? It's got heated cup holders? Oh, they're cooled cup holders. That's even better. Wait, they're both. They're heated and cooled cup holders. Crazy. You know how you know this is real wood? Listen to it. That's wood. And while the steering wheel has touch capacitive controls, I was not a fan of this design in the VW GTI. They're okay in here. They don't screw up, at least. My number one complaint about the GLS580, and this is when you're in the non-sport mode, just driving normally, if you come to a stop, the auto stop start feature is extremely annoying, because when you go to take off again, like at a set of lights, there's this sudden hesitation and then surge because you're like, what's going on throttle response wise? There's a big delay there. If you put it into sport mode and you're driving it more aggressively, it doesn't do it as bad. It's not really noticeable, but still, it's just annoying. Additionally, not really a complaint here, but the 23-inch wheels, while they do look sick, they kind of render this thing extremely limited off-road wise, unless you don't care about damaging your wheels. If this thing had maybe a 19-inch wheel with a more aggressive off-road tire, I can only imagine how good this thing would be off-road. Aside from that, I really don't have any other major faults that stood out at me when I was driving this. The stuff I liked about it, it does luxury perfectly. Everything that you want in a luxury vehicle, you're gonna get it with this thing. I mean, just driving around with the heated massaging seats in the wintertime and the heated steering wheel, listening to channel 71 40s Junction on XM radio. I don't know why it was on when I got this thing. It was on a 1940 station and I was like, who the hell is listening to 1940s music? There's massive subwoofers down here in the footwells, so you get the bass from down low. Speaking of the stereo in this thing though, Mark Levinson in Lexus products has pretty much been my favorite go-to for massive powerful stereo systems, but in the GLS, this Burmeister, one of the best I've tested in a Mercedes so far. Fuel economy wise, no one that buys a GLS580 cares about fuel economy. It is a hybrid, but that's just for extra performance in my opinion. It's not terrible considering how fast and heavy it is. It's not great, and that's why if you compare this against most of its competitors, I would choose this for the fact that it's got this Merc twin turbo V8 in it, because in 2024, this is a dying breed. It is now time to give this thing some scores, starting with the bean score, the assessment of the feeling you get in your gut when you give it the beans. And the GLS580 gets a rating of, followed by the cookie score, the assessment of value. And this one, as it is equipped with a bunch of options added at $128,000, gets a rating of, followed by the wrench score, the assessment of ease of maintenance. And I'm going to give it a rating of. Next is the meatball scores, the assessment of a truck's off-road capabilities. And the GLS580 gets a rating of. Lastly is the penguin score. It's the assessment on how much I personally like a vehicle. And the GLS580 gets a rating of. I think this is probably my favorite Mercedes product I've reviewed to date. And I have not reviewed a CLA AMG or any A-Class yet, but yeah, it's a good truck. I like it. So hope you guys enjoy this review. I'll see you soon with another. Bye-bye.